Good morning. I just wanted to come on here today and share my fibromyalgia success story with you because we hear so many stories about how fibromyalgia has no cure and we don't know what to do with it and we have to live with it, and it's so much pain and exhaustion, and it's known to be a long-term disability at some point, and it really doesn't have to be that way at all. And I'm here to show you how to get better, to recover, because once you've had fibromyalgia, you have to keep taking good care of yourself or it can come back. So what is it? Well, how did it start for me? So fibromyalgia usually creeps in slowly. You have a lot of somatic symptoms that come in. So for example, I had IBS for as long as I can remember, irritable bowel syndrome. I had pain in my back, lower back all the time. I had aches and pains all the time. But usually there'll be like a really big event that really propels it to become more active. So I had one of those events that was so shameful for me, one of the worst things I've ever done. And keeping the secret and the shame that came with it was just too much for me. And I started being really sick. And it started with my period every month. Like I've been very regular, never really had any problems, but the pain that I had, I could hardly work. And then it started being a week before. They thought I had endometriosis. They put me on hormones. So I started doing all these tests, right? Because I had so much pain. I started becoming so exhausted that I could hardly work. And as a single mother of three, that wasn't a good deal. In debt on top of it, with my two jobs, and really could not lose work. And so it was really hard and really stressful. But I started having a lot of pain where, they thought I had rheumatoid arthritis. I couldn't walk on one of my foot. But when I woke up in the morning, it's like I could feel every joint in my body that I didn't know I had. I had pain like in my jaw, like everywhere, every little thing. And it took me a long time to start moving in the morning. So they thought I had rheumatoid arthritis. I had bladder issues. I had to wake up like 8 times a night. So disrupting my sleep, that was already not good. I had sciatica. I felt bugs crawling on my skin at some point and I couldn't sleep. I was sure I had like scabies from work. I started having memory loss. But like the nerve pain was so bad, all kinds of different pains. And every time that I did a little effort, I'd be like knocked out for like days. But also I started having problems swallowing. I started drooling, I swear. I thought I had ALS, and I was doing all these tests, right? I had pain everywhere, literally, could hardly hold my arms up. And, I did all the tests, so many tests, and everything came back fine. Everything's fine. So my doctors were like, maybe it's all in your head. And I was like, oh my God, like these doctors have known me for like almost 20 years. They know I don't just do this. And they knew all the trauma I had, but didn't make the connection. Anyways, so I was falling apart, couldn't keep anything in. The nausea was like terrible. And the anxiety that came with it, right? And I was starting to lose, like I couldn't concentrate. My memory was going. I was starting to lose balance. I was like, oh my God. So I started doing my own research because I was like, they're not going to figure out what's wrong with me. And I'm going to die. And so I found out about fibromyalgia and how fibromyalgia is all about toxicity. So toxicity means anything that causes stress in your body. And so, that could be food. It could be something in the water you drink. It could be in the air. It could be in medications that are not supposed to be in your body that are synthesized. But also a big one is it could be unresolved trauma, or AKA trapped emotions in your body that creates a lot of tension. And so I found out about that and I was like, oh, I knew I had a lot of trauma in my life. I was drinking all the time. I was smoking all the time. I was eating a lot of sugar, a lot of amounts of foods. emotional eating. And so, and at the same time, I was actually diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and the doctors were like, hey, we have like painkillers and sleeping pills, and then they give you pills for all the other symptoms that you have, like Band-Aid medications. And I was like, what? I found out this was about toxicity, and you want to put more toxic stuff in my body? I knew that wasn't going to work. And if I did that, it might be a big problem, because if you think about it, I feel bad for people who don't know. And this is why I come on here and I want to share this, because at first you really want those medications because you're in so much pain. Like, the pain is traumatic in itself. Like the nerve pain, the shooting of it, I was so scared of it coming. And by the time you realize it's there, it's gone. And so you're like in shock and trauma, like scared of the pain, but it's gone already, like crazy stuff. And so, God, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, what happens is that you take these painkillers and these sleeping pills and all these Band-Aid medications, and you're not going to the root cause of the problem, and you're actually adding more toxicity to your body. And what happens is that you become tolerant to those medications, so you need a higher dose. And then you become tolerant again, you need a higher dose until you can't get a higher dose. And it literally, I don't even want to imagine what fibromyalgia becomes after a few years of like the way I was, because I was crippled already. Last week, I can get out of bed. And so I decided to take my health in my own hands. I said no to all the medications, and I went and got help. I joined a support group at the Gatehouse here for it's a safe space for sexual abuse survivors, adult sexual abuse survivors. And so I went there and I found out that I was super normal for what I had gone through. So a lot of my shame that I was carrying dropped off, and I was able to start accepting myself and forgiving myself and giving myself the self-care and love that I deserved. So I was given all the tools, and I started succeeding with all the knowledge I had. And the tools, I started succeeding. And so I got sober. I started going to the gym. I started eating healthy. Most importantly, I started standing in my truth and put the blame where it belonged. I didn't make stories in my head anymore. My truth was my truth, and I was going to accept the pain of it and deal with it. And I did. And next thing you know, within a year, I no longer had the fibromyalgia. I actually was in the best shape of my life. And, I started facilitating groups and noticed that a lot of people with trauma have somatic illnesses. And so I started helping them, and it was working. And so now, fast forward, because back then I still had my nursing jobs. And so lighting up dark corners kind of took the back burner. But now that I've been fired because I spoke out and did what was right, I realized I don't want nothing to do with that industry. And this is my true purpose and passion. And so I want to show people how to heal from trauma and recover from somatic illnesses like fibromyalgia. So I just wanted to come on here and tell you there's so much hope, so much ways you can detoxify, you can get better. And fibromyalgia can be like the biggest blessing in disguise, because it's the blessing that comes and makes you have to transform your life and live aligned with your truth, your values, and your beliefs. And it brings you to live the life that you were born to live. And I strongly believe that that's what I'm doing. And I want to help others do the same, because it's really exciting. So, if you liked this little video, you can share it with people who who are struggling with fibromyalgia, because they don't have to. And I do one-on-ones, but I actually have a video, it's a workshop on my website all ready for you, called How to Recover from Fibromyalgia. It's $100. You buy it, you get to watch it as many times as you want. It's yours. It's so worth it. So if you're interested, head up to my website, lightingupdarkcorners.com, and start recovering today. Let's heal. Ask me any questions you have. I'm here for you. We can heal from anything we put our minds to. Love you all. Have a great day.